Chapter 3. The Rules You Never Got to Read. You can graduate from high school in Canada knowing how to factor a quadratic equation and label every organelle in a cell, but never learn how interest works. You can walk a stage to receive your diploma without ever being taught how to file a tax return, what a credit score is, or how a payday loan turns a small mistake into a multi-year disaster. And that's not an oversight. It's policy. It's structural. It's consequential. And it's profitable. Just not for you. The most important rules are the ones you're never taught. Financial literacy in Canada is treated like optional seasoning instead of a basic ingredient. But the real curriculum, the one that determines who thrives and who struggles, is nowhere to be found. Where are the courses on? How tax brackets actually work, how compound interest traps people, how to negotiate a salary, how to avoid predatory lending, how mortgages are structured, what the CRA actually does, what unions are and what they've won. The difference between appreciating assets and depreciating ones, these are not luxury topics. These are survival skills. And yet, for most Canadians, are missing from the syllabus. This isn't just neglect, it's strategy. If people understood money, how it moves, who controls it, and who benefits from its rules, they would ask much harder questions. They would see through the myths about working harder. They would recognize the structural barriers disguised as personal failures. Knowledge doesn't just inform, it empowers. And empowered citizens are harder to manipulate, divide, or extract from. The working class doesn't suffer from a lack of intelligence. It suffers from strategic omission. Why didn't you learn any of this? There are 3 reasons. 1. Complexity protects power. The more complicated a system is, the fewer people understand it. And the fewer people understand it, the easier it is for those who do to shape it. Canada's tax code is thousands of pages long, but employees only need a single form. Everyone else, they get a menu. 2. Confusion is profitable. Confused people pay higher interest, make worse borrowing decisions, rely on financial products they don't fully understand, miss deductions and credits, accept fees without question, and sign predatory contracts. Ignorance isn't a flaw in the system. It's a revenue model. 3. The myth of meritocracy would collapse. If every student learned how wealth accumulates, how inheritance creates advantage, how tax structures protect capital, how labor is structurally disadvantaged, and how markets reward those who already own, the myth that hard work alone determines success would shatter overnight. Meritocracy requires mass confusion to survive. The cost of not knowing. When you don't understand the rules of money, you don't just lose dollars, you lose decades. You lose better interest rates, opportunities to invest early, confidence during negotiations, protection from bad actors, tax advantages, security, time. You also lose something deeper, your sense of agency. Because nothing is more disorienting than doing everything right and still falling behind. The rules are hidden, but not gone. When people are never taught the rules, confusion becomes profitable. And once the damage is done, the system doesn't offer knowledge as a remedy. It offers charity. But here's the shift. Once you learn the rules, you can't unlearn them. You start to see how money shapes incentives. You begin to spot patterns in policy, media, and corporate behavior. You stop blaming yourself and start interrogating the system. And that moment, that's where power changes hands.